Last week on X, Whitney Webb shared her thoughts on the intersection of corporate influence, government control, and technological power. On November 18th, Whitney tweeted, "If Trump is still bragging about the military-run Op Warp Speed and the removal of regulations, it also entailed so mRNA vax tech could be finally taken to market under the fog of crisis when it couldn't even get through animal trials the entire decade preceding COVID due to safety concerns over LNPs and near-zero efficacy, etc. I think RFK Jr. really should address what his policies will be on mRNA and other biotechnology injectables as head of HHSBC. Since endorsing Trump, he has been silent on this issue, and VP Vance and many prominent Trump donors, like Musk, are deeply invested in medical genetically engineered products." On November 18th, Whitney also tweeted, "Rowan, like his fellow Apollo co-founder Leon Black, heavily linked to Epstein, was an alumnus of the deeply corrupt bank Drexel Burnham Lambert. Rowan worked with Black at Drexel's M&A department to help corporate raiders, several linked to organized crime, that were essentially sponsored by Drexel's junk bond scam to take over major components of corporate America. Drexel was deeply tied to the intelligence organized crime syndicate responsible for the S&L crisis of the 1980s. See my book, and also the work of Pete Bruton, one of the masterminds of this scam. Michael Milken, Drexel's king of junk bonds, was a convicted felon for his egregious financial crimes until Trump pardoned him at the end of his first term. Also, Apollo brought one of the main 9/11 insider traders, former top CIA official and Wall Street banker Alvin Buzzy Krongard, onto its board shortly after 9/11. Fun fact, Krongard was also Eric Prince's CIA handler when Blackwater was a CIA contractor. Pretty much every name that has been floated for Treasury thus far is a complete ghoul and/or flagrant financial criminal. On November 18th, Whitney also provided, "Mark and I wrote this series, mostly Mark for the latter installments, with the hope of turning it into a book sometime next year, with the goal of connecting a lot of dots left underexplored regarding the financial crimes of the broader Epstein network in my previous books." Whitney then follows up to this tweet with the following, "It's a long read, but worth it if you want to know about the digital control system that will pose as a better financial system, and that is set to be foisted upon the public during the next economic crisis." On November 18th, Whitney also tweeted, "Well, both Musk and Lutnick love carbon pricing schemes, and Lutnick's company has an entire fund dedicated to spurring the implementation of the UN's SDGs. So yes, I am sure there will be plenty of change." Whitney then follows up with, "Lutnick is also a big stablecoin guy and wants Bitcoin to be only a reserve asset, not a peer-to-peer digital cash system, and wants people to transact instead use stablecoins like Tether, Lutnick's favorite. Tether is openly teamed up with the FBI and seizes people's money whenever the US government asks, and it and any other stablecoin has the potential to be just as programmable, surveillable, and Orwellian as a CBDC. Sorry, but I don't think using Bitcoin to sustain the gov's terrible fiscal policy and the Treasury Ponzi is cool. I think it goes entirely against what Bitcoin was supposed to be about and shows the Wall Street takeover of what was once the Bitcoin ethos. The incoming admin's Bitcoin strategy is not what you think it is." On November 18th, she states, "Bitcoin is going to go up, no question about that, and for that reason alone, makes sense to hold it. My point, though, is that the big names like Lutnick now promoting it and linking it to incoming admin policy are not seeking to do it. BC, they want to fix the money, fix the world." On November 18th, Whitney also tweets, "In case you are wondering why I think this would not be positive, and why I think Miley's proposals in that regard are not positive either. Both Facebook and Google, from their origins to now, are deeply connected to the US military and the CIA, and have shown time and time again that they are garbage when it comes to data protection and privacy, and they have openly helped to create a global panopticon for US empire. The people that created or run those companies are not counter-elites, as some now claim. They are longtime collaborators with the deep state, and advocates for building a hellish techno-feudal surveillance hellhole that most of you people were against 2 years ago." On November 18th, Whitney tweets, "Milei has been proposing replacing the ministries he wants to axe with Facebook AI and Google AI. I have a feeling Doge is going to follow a similar playbook, and we will have Silicon Valley running the government even more under the guise of efficiency. No wonder Zuckerberg and Bezos are trying to rebrand as libertarian and right-leaning now." On November 19th, Whitney tweets, "Tried to tell y'all that no matter who won the 2024 election, BlackRock was going to be running US fiscal policy, and here we are. The people who brought you the going direct wealth transfer from Main St. to Wall Street under the guise of COVID relief policy, implemented first under Trump and continued under Biden, whose econ team was run by ex-BlackRock execs, are back for more. On November 19th, Whitney tweets, "For all the people that still cheerlead for Javier Milei, any comments on how his government has created a security agency to implement AI-driven pre-crime? Please explain to me how this is libertad carajo. Thanks." Whitney in a follow-up tweet says, "For those that don't know, pre-crime was technically legalized under the last Trump administration via former AG Bill Barr. Policy was continued and arguably expanded under Biden." J.D. Vance's benefactor Peter Thiel has major ties to firms seeking to implement pre-crime in the U.S., including Palantir and the Thiel and Epstein-funded Carbine. On November 19th, Whitney responds to a tweet with the following, "For all the people that still cheerlead for Javier, any comments on how his government has created a security agency to implement AI-driven pre-crime? Please explain to me how this is libertad carajo. Thanks." On November 19th, Whitney tweets, "Current Tulsi has many different policy takes than 2020 Tulsi or previous iterations. For example, she previously described Israel as occupying Palestine. Now, she opposes American students protesting Israel's destruction of Gaza and thinks Biden was too soft in enabling the IDF's brutal bombing campaign due to an insane civilian death toll. People celebrating her appointment should scrutinize some of her relatively recent about-faces. It matters what her policy positions are now, not what they were 4 years ago." On November 21st, Whitney tweets, "Aren't you the guy that wants to verify all humans on social media by having them link a government-issued ID to their social media account? You say it's to control bots. Australia's government says it's to protect kids, but it's really the same policy at the end of the day, isn't it?" Whitney Webb's perspective challenges mainstream narratives by scrutinizing the alliances between political figures, powerful corporations, and emerging technologies, emphasizing the need for transparency, accountability, and skepticism toward those in power. What do you think? Let us know in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one.